we are back again. Fernando, welcome back. It's nice to see you.
Ciao, Silvia.
Ciao.
Always a pleasure to be here.
How's it going?
Fine, fine. Haven't seen you for like ages.
Ages to have you back on my channel for our series that I'm enjoying very much. Today we're gonna talk about the Hermit and the Fool. So let's start from the beginning. When we talk about these two cards, we cannot avoid and looking into the number 9. What the number 9 tells us from the Vedic perspective of numerology, it's called the divine friendship, which is very interesting to my ears. It's a very sweet way to describe something that is so difficult to perceive because it's not material at all. It's something that happens within, so everybody can only go within in our own experience to understand what we're talking about. There's nothing to show materialistically speaking.
Definitely.
So we also associate to the number 9 the shadow planet Ketu, which is the south node of the moon for those accustomed to the Western astrology. And we know when we talk about Ketu, many go a little bit scared because Ketu is the side of our chart, experience of life, experience of past lives, some said, that we are meant to move away from to favor the Rahu experience so that we get to know ourselves. And then by knowing ourselves, by fully going into Rahu, we actually unlock the treasures from Ketu. So we can't really separate those two, can we?
Definitely.
We cannot. So on one hand, with the Fool, we have this fantastic experience of not having to worry about anything because what we need is coming out of the blue. We don't even know that this is happening most of the times. You know, you stumble across something and poof, it was what you needed or what it was becoming something very useful for you, you know? And this is a card associated to the red 9s. Okay, so red of hearts and red 9 of hearts, sorry, and 9 of diamonds. Same goes for the Hermit. Totally different card. Being masculine card is something that we can actually see in the world because it's going to talk about something detaching from the mundane life, day-to-day life, and the communication with others is a communication that happens within the self, though it's reflected in the action in the outside, but it has one major thing: the knowledge of life itself is coming to the person. What's the media for the knowledge to come to the person? Is retrieving from the doing in the outside world, the mundane things, is retrieving and as a sponge realizing that the knowledge. So it's a specific knowledge that doesn't happen with the Fool. The Fool doesn't really realize that it just said something prophetic, but it does say something prophetic. So they're very different, at the same time, two faces of the same coin. Did I ramble enough about that?
No, that was great.
As always, your point is what I'm here for.
Oh, sure.
Listen.
So basically, when you take by the way, your explanation was very good. I really liked it. So as you said, you have the Hermit, which is the male, and the Fool, which would be the female. And when we have these cards, we have to think of the number 9. And when the number 9 comes into the picture, we have to think about divine acceptance. Some people say divine friendship, but it's basically the divine acceptance with the whole. It is the spiritual realization, and to a certain degree, a finality that brings everything together. And when we have these 9s, these two major arcanas, we have to ask ourselves, what makes us part of the whole, right? In the 8, we were whole within ourselves. And in the 9, we are whole with the everything.
Yes. It's
And
a
this is,
consequence, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
Is a consequence. When I realize myself for who I am, I cannot fail to see the same happening for the other.
Yeah, but that comes first within yourself and then automatically with everything else, which is very Ketu-esque, right?
And Rahu-esque, because at the end of the day, the key is in Rahu.
Yeah, but the Rahu's the difficult one. But once you realize Rahu, you go back to Moksha Karka, which is Ketu, and then you realize it. And this is like the Nirvana card. This is like the Moksha card. This is like the Samadhi card. This is like, 2001 Space Odyssey card.
Absolutely.
Like, you realize everything. Yeah, right? Yeah. And you do this through the Hermit and the Fool, which are basically yogis. These are 2 different yogis that go through 2 different paths. Yeah. Maybe the Fool is a Bhakti yogi. Maybe the Hermit is a Kriya yogi. It depends. And we're going to see how you can make these allusions. Buddha. First, we have... I'm sorry?
I was saying Buddha went through that phase of not even eating, which was the Fool. And then he went the other end of the spectrum when he went, no, let's break it down. My way to get to moksha is this, and that.
Yeah. And I guess if you go to India, you probably see both of these yogis. The Hermit is probably going to be in a temple in a mountain, and the Fool is going to be, next to the Ganges, filled with ash, with his hand up like this for 30 years,
The sadhus.
Yeah, the sadhus, exactly.
Sadhus.
Exactly. And we're going to see how, because as we said in the 8, here in the 9, in the 8 it begins, but in the 9 is more visible. The male, through its exterior actions, is going within, and the female, through its interior actions, is going exterior, and we're going to see that. But in the Hermit, it's basically a withdrawal, right?
Yeah.
With the Hermit, you're withdrawing yourself from the exterior. You're withdrawing yourself from society, from the people, but you're going outside of it. You're going to a secluded place. But it's withdrawal, solitude, and meditation to find the real essence of the spirit, which is the sun. So technically what you're doing is that you are retiring yourself from the world through an exterior action.
Yeah.
To go to a certain degree to a female approach to finding the exterior, right?
Yeah.
So you find the sun, retiring yourself from the exterior. So it's technically like a female approach, but it's still male.
Yeah, it's the same. It's in the same way we were mentioning for the number 8.
Yeah.
It's to kind of, it's like they cross paths with each other.
And as I said, this is a masculine yogi, because this masculine yogi connects with God through exterior withdrawal.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's the manifestation. That is that you don't see that person in the village anymore.
Yeah. And we kind of...
Also probably, is a willful action.
Yes, definitely.
That's the masculine side also, I think.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's an action that has a lot of female qualities to it, because you are retiring, you are going within. Of course, it is an exterior within, right? Because with the female, it's just in the heart, in the mind. But here is like literally, I'm just dropping out of society.
Yeah.
I had to meditate, to contemplate, to find myself in withdrawal and solitude. Then you have the Fool. And the Fool is like the Bhakti yogi. This is the crazy guy who's out there, doing things. And it's basically the self-realization that everything is a reflection of the self. And there we come into contact with the soul, which would be the moon, right? So it's basically going to an exterior action to realize that everything is a reflection. Yeah. And it's just like the hangman, but more illumined.
More active. Exactly. Because it happens out of action.
Definitely.
I like this image of stumbling across something or saying something that is prophetic.
Yeah, because in the hangman, it was the climax of female energy, And here in the Fool, that climax of female energy realizes that it has to do a little bit of more of the masculine energy to become whole. And in the Chariot, it was the pinnacle of masculine action, but now he realizes that he needs a little bit of feminine action to reach the pinnacle of male action. And that's what's going to come up when I finish. But here in the Fool, basically, it's the feminine yogi that connects with God through exterior acceptance, right? If the hermit was exterior withdrawal, the Fool is basically exterior acceptance. I have to accept everything because everything is a reflection of myself. It's how the moon becomes a little bit more male in the Fool, and how the sun becomes a little bit more female in the hermit. And it is through this union of both male and female energies that you reach that pinnacle that is the 9. You reach that nirvana, that moksha, that samadhi to a certain degree. Because here, the feminine action takes a more male approach to things, and the male action takes a more female approach to things. And this is basically what divine acceptance, the finality, and the spiritual realization comes in. But
Yeah,
as you said, first you have to go through the 8.
absolutely.
And the 8 is crossing the bridge, right? In the 9, you are just free to go.
Yeah, and the 8, I was thinking that the 8 comes across as being a challenge because we are sold the illusion that we go and get things. But we have that half of us that it doesn't go and get things. It just attracts things by opening the self to what it is. Because if you apply to the Chariot, then yes, you go and get it somehow for both. Though maybe the 8 of Spades needs a bit more support for doing so. Yeah, I'm talking about the minor arcana associated to the 2 major. They're not the same, but they help describing. They both have describing each other, minor and minor arcana, major and minor. Oh, and it's Mercury retrograde. It's official. So yeah. I very much like it. We come to the end of the evolution from 1 to 9, but we left with something else afterwards.
Yeah, the 10.
Yeah, you would guess, okay, we're done.
No.
No, guys, there is some more for us, something more, which is very...
The wheel of life never finishes turning, and the magician always has things to do.
Absolutely beautiful. I love that. So we leave our friends with this beautiful line. Ciao, Fernando.
Ciao, Silvia. I'm sorry?
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon too. Bye-bye.